Alright guys, now we're here with your news. I guess we're going to start off by talking about SOPA. How do you feel about SOPA there, Kenny?
I'm not against it because it's going to get rid of everything on the internet that's not supposed to be there, and it's going to help out. What do you think?
I think it's a good idea implemented by the government. It's really going to help out the movie industry, kind of bring back some of that cash they've been missing for like the past 10 years.
Well, last year alone, movie ticket sales were down 16%. So it's probably going to, without being able to download and stream instantly, then ticket sales will probably go back up.
Yeah, 16% is a lot when you actually consider how many people see movies each year.
Yeah.
And it's also like getting more recognition now since Wikipedia and Mozilla Firefox have kind of taken a stand against it. So what do you think about that? Do you think Wikipedia going on a 24-hour like blackout was a good idea?
It's not accomplishing anything, really. It's just making it harder to access internet, and the sites that are already available and all the searches you can do on Wikipedia that would be helpful you can no longer do. What do you think?
I agree with you there, man. I think Wikipedia just pissed people off by doing that, and they didn't really accomplish what they wanted to accomplish, which was raise awareness. People see it and they're like, oh, they're doing this because of some stupid law that's about to be passed. I don't care. I want to look up Fight Club, or I want to look up some like other movie or some topic, right? And people can't do that while they were blacked out, and that just pissed a lot of people off. Anyway, moving on. So, what else is in the news, Ken?
Well, now we got Mark Wahlberg. He's gotten himself into some trouble this week.
Uh-oh.
He was on a radio show and he said, and he was scheduled to be on the plane, one of the planes that hit one of the Twin Tower buildings on 9/11.
Okay.
So this week when he was on a radio show, he said, had he been in the cabin, there would have been more bloodshed and everything would have turned out differently. Do you think it was disrespectful, or do you think...
I think he just, misspoke, right? What he meant was he would have, probably beat the crap out of the terrorists and hopefully saved everyone.
That's probably... Yeah, I think he shouldn't have... Unless he knew exactly how to say it, I don't think he should have said anything. But I still don't think it's going to affect him that much.
No, I think his career is going to be just fine. All he did was misspoke. And anyone can do that, not just a celebrity. Any random person can misspeak and make a fool of themselves once in a while.
But it tends to be that if you or I do it, it's not,
Yeah, no one cares about us, right? But if Mark
Mark
Wahlberg or
does
Tom
it.
Cruise or somebody famous does it, it's going to be taken notice of, right?
For sure.
We also have Katherine Heigl in the news. She's trying to get back onto Grey's Anatomy after a little bit of a mishap back in 2010. So what do you think about that? Do you think she'll be good if she returns? Or
Let the past be the past. The show's still successful without her.
yeah, we just need to move on, right? People have got to be...
Shows do that. They bring back characters that served a purpose for a while, left, and then they try to relive the glory they once had.
Sometimes
But
it's
there's
good.
no point in doing it.
Sometimes it's good with CSI when William Peterson came back on as his character.
Yeah, but they had still moved on without him. You're just teasing everybody when you bring them back.
That's true. You're like, oh, he's going to
This
stay
is
on.
like-
He's going to stay on. No, he's not. He's just going to be on for 2 episodes and then he's
But-
gone again.
I don't know, if they can manage it and it's a good storyline for the show and the fans, then it'll draw huge ratings if she comes back. So they're gonna go for it if they can do it.
I totally agree with you there, Kenny. And there's your news.
I don't know how I feel about this new Ridley Scott movie, Prometheus. I freaking love Ridley Scott, right? He's done great movies. He's done Gladiator, he's done Blade Runner, and a whole bunch of awesome movies, right? Freaking love the guy, great director. I don't know how I feel about the new stuff he's been up to, though. Have you guys seen that friggin' Andromeda Strain stuff? Friggin' the 1970s movie was better than the new miniseries. What's with that, man? And here's the thing. I enjoyed it still. The new Andromeda Strain was pretty good. But when it's still being beaten out by a 1970s movie with special effects that are outdating my dad, seriously, that stuff should not happen. So listen, I've seen some stuff from Prometheus, looks fantastic. One of the other beefs that I have with it, and a beef that I have with a lot of modern movies these days, is why does everything have to save the entire world? You know? You watch the first Alien movie done by a French director, awesome movie. It was about 5 people on a ship trying to save their own lives and just getting owned by this alien monster crap. Seriously, the entire world's not at stake, just these 5 people. It's something you can relate to. People can't relate to the entire world being at risk. They don't get those kinds of problems. You know? What about M. Night Shyamalan? His first couple movies were about individual people, you know? And then all of a sudden it throws this twist at you, you know? Freaking a curveball. And you're like, what? And now it's all like, man, the entire world's at stake. People can't relate to that. People don't have their entire world just threatened by this one thing. So, I don't know. I'm kind of excited about Prometheus. The stuff looks good, but I don't know how I feel about movies these days and Ridley Scott in general. I say you watch it. But I say you watch like a couple of old movies first, like Night of the Hunter. Because that movie, the villain, all he has is a knife and friggin' like love and hate written on his hands. And he's like the most threatening villain ever. With just a knife. And friggin' like, you watch movies like Alfred Hitchcock, you know, Psycho, Vertigo, stuff like that. It seems like it's a supernatural, all-powerful thing going on, but it's actually just these humans, just these people working as villains. Watch The Rope. Watch like something really fantastic like that, and then go watch Prometheus, because then you'll know how I feel, which is probably going to be a little bit disappointed. That's all for tonight. Wow!
And now we're going to review Contraband, starring Mark Wahlberg, Giovanni Ribisi, and Kate Beckinsale. I thought it was a bit predictable. Cody, what did you think?
You know, I felt exactly the same way, Kenny. It's one of those movies where you know exactly where it's going as soon as you see the first shot. You know?
I completely agree. I felt that took away from being able to attach with the characters at all. Because every scene, every time something happened, you saw it coming like 10 minutes before it even happened. So you just sort of saw these characters playing it out exactly the way you thought it would. And it didn't, like, in the end, it just doesn't really captivate you at all.
We've seen too many of these movies, eh? Like, it seems like there's a movie like this every month where we have a hero where he's in the same kind of predicament, right? He's trying to save his friend or he's trying to save his family. And we know exactly how it's going to play out after we see the first shot of the movie, right?
It doesn't even bother me that they continue to recycle plot lines. What bothers me is that they continue to... Like, obviously, most films are going to have a basic story that are similar. You're trying to save someone. There's, like, you're going to have someone trying to help their family. But what they continue to do is they continue to write the screenplay as if it's one... There's only one way it can go. Just change it up, twist it up, add a new twist to the story. Don't write it exactly the way people expect you to and try to be a new original thriller or an action flick. It's not going to work.
Yeah, you know what I'm sick of? I'm sick of like American film studios remaking European films, because this movie is a remake of a European film, and so is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and that is a movie I didn't mind in the form of a remake.
I don't have a problem with American studios remaking European films. Because
they have to do it good, though.
No, because 2 out of 3 of my favorite films, which are The Departed and The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, are remakes of European films. So American filmmakers have proven they can do it. It's just they got to get writers who aren't standard and like writing just a basic plot line, hoping to grab people's attention.
Right, but not all the studios can afford, you know, the Aaron Sorkins of this world, or
they can afford a writer that
Steve Zalians of this world,
writes more than just a standard plot line, though. Because all it takes is for one person to reread and consider a rewrite, and it would have been done. And I don't think they even... It seems like they just produced the first draft of the script, which had a lot of cliches in it to me.
You know what I think happened is they had a good first draft, and then they invited another writer to clean it up, and then they invited another writer to clean that up. I hate when they do that, when they have a good story, generally speaking, in the beginning, and then they just hire more and more people to tweak it a little bit here and there, and it turns into crap.
I don't think that's what happened, because there was only one writing credit on the movie, and if there was more than one writer, then you would have to credit all of them. So I think that it was just a problem of just a basic plot line, no interesting twist, which easily could have happened. There's a couple scenes in the movie where they could have benefited from possibly going a completely different route with the scene, but instead they chose the boring, generic...
The acting is good, though, in it. The acting that is in it is actually very good for the actors involved, right? Giovanni Ribisi has made a good comeback over the past couple of years. He took a kind of hiatus there for a little while, and he's proven himself to be a very good actor in his own right.
I have to admit though, when he's not making films, he's not one of those people that I don't see around. Like if he's not in a film for 2 years, it doesn't change my going to movies. But he is the type of guy when he's in a film, he changes the dynamic of a film, including both The Rum Diary and now Contraband.
Even though the story is something we've seen so many times before, these actors give it their all, and you kind of feel involved with the story, even though it's ridiculous at times.
I have to disagree because unless there's conventions used in the writing that make it anything that actually like make the story better and add twists, I don't feel connected to a story. If I can sit there and say what's going to happen in every scene, I don't feel a connection to the story. I feel a connection to some of what the characters go through, but not to the overall outcome of the story.
Like, I see where you're coming from with that, Kenny, and I agree with you to a certain extent. It's all about the story, right? You need a good story for a movie to be good and a movie to work.
What happens too many times these days, and I think is what happened with Contraband, is that they have a good idea for a movie, but they just can't execute a full feature-length script to the point where it continues to keep you engaged throughout the entire movie.
No, I completely agree with you there. You need to feel that you're actually involved in these characters' lives, right? That you're not just someone looking in from the outside. You need to feel like you're right on the front lines there with them. And unless you feel like you're actually connected to the characters in any way, shape, or form, right? The movie just feels kind of like a bunch of recycled ideas.
It definitely is a bunch of recycled ideas.
It is, and we've seen this many times before, done way better.
And we'll continue to see it, but if they can add some plot twists to it, I'll be there to see it.
So will I, man. So will
And that concludes our review of Contraband. Alright, well, a film that I had on my top films of 2011 list just came out on DVD, and that's Moneyball.
Oh, that's a great
A film
movie.
that we both enjoyed. Tell me why you enjoyed it.
You know, I enjoyed it because it's based on a spectacular true story.
That is true.
That's why I feel really connected to these characters, because they're not made up. They actually existed. Or do exist, I should say.
I felt connected to the characters because Moneyball had good writing. Sorry, Contraband.
That's why it succeeds as a film, because it's not only based on a spectacular true story, but they translated that so well to the screen that you feel involved with these characters,
it's
right?
It's also a David versus Goliath type story, so you can't. There's no way you cannot help but feel
the weak versus the strong.
There's no way you cannot help but cheer for Billy Beane and the Oakland Athletics.
Yeah.
When there's trying, like when he does everything he can with the money that he's been given, there's no. What else are you gonna feel? Are you gonna hate him? No, he's a good guy trying to make the best with what he has.
The character is spectacularly played by Brad Pitt too, man. Like that actor gives it his all in this film. I don't think I've seen him do a better portrayal of a real person or a fictional person.
I've seen him do a better portrayal.
In what? In what?
In Fight Club 7. He's better in both those movies.
I'd say he's better in both of those movies, but as a real person, this is his first time actually impersonating
he does
a
a
live
really
human being.
fantastic job, but I think Jonah Hill is the one that shows how versatile he can be as well. So far, I've sort of given up. I had sort of given up on Jonah Hill because all I thought he could do was comedy.
I thought that too, right? Like you see him in Get Him to the Greek, and you see him in Superbad, and you're like, oh, he's the comedy kid, like Michael Cera, right?
He's really funny, but he's proven that he is pretty versatile. I think he's actually proven that he's more versatile than Michael Cera at this point.
Michael Cera is like a one-trick pony, but Jonah Hill seems to be able to do comedy really well, but also these dramatic roles.
Moneyball is definitely a really well done movie.
It's
in
a great
many aspects.
It's a great clip.
I can't think of anything I personally don't like about Moneyball. What about you? Is there anything that you could think
There's
of?
nothing that I don't like about it. Sometimes it feels like the pacing's a little off, but that goes with any film, right? It's almost impossible to get the pacing
That's because
right.
I think you have these like scenes where he's setting up all this like all the players for the big baseball games and like you have all these intense moments and then they slow it down and have a tender moment with Billy Beane and how it's affected him. And so I think you sort of get that pacing issue because they're going really quickly, and when they go on a winning streak for a while, you get that like, are they going to do it? Are they going to do it type thing? And then they slow it down, and then they sort of have a moment where everybody's able to relax and become human again. It feels a lot more real than most of the comedy Jonah Hill
It
has
doesn't
delivered
feel
in the
it
past.
doesn't feel as forced like when he was doing Superbad, that comedy.
Superbad,
While it was
though,
funny, it felt really forced.
Superbad is one of my favorite comedies because we've all been in that type of situation.
Oh, yeah.
where we've all told the story that it's over exaggerated, but in Moneyball he's quiet, he's confident, and that's what you need out of a young star like Jonah Hill.
And from what I've seen of the person in real life, that is how he carries himself. He's very quiet, he's very calm, he's very organized. And I think Jonah Hill probably looked into that research-wise, and he came out with this notion of, okay, I can be funny, but I also gotta portray it as realistic as I can. I can't make this guy over the top hilarious. I gotta portray him as a real man.
But that's because the script also called for it too.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the scripts he's been handed before have been written by Seth Rogen, so obviously you're gonna get the over the top character. But this time around, he was really good. And if there was, we have to say, if you haven't seen Moneyball yet, we suggest you go rent it. It's our DVD pick of the week.
It's a wonderful movie, and I guarantee that you will enjoy it. Alright, so the 69th Annual Golden Globe Awards were on TV Sunday, January 15th. What did you think about them, Kenny?
Overall, I was okay with the show, because most things that win do actually deserve to win. It does come down to the best movies of the year, and there's no doubt about that. So you can't argue against any movie or anything that does win. But there are a few things that I was disappointed about. What about you?
Yeah, I was actually personally disappointed that Ricky Gervais didn't go all out this year. That he kind of held back at some points.
But that's because they've asked him to in the past. I mean, last year they said he went too far, and this year they said he didn't go far enough.
Where's the right balance,
What
man?
do you want the guy to do?
What do you want him to go too far at the beginning of the show and then pull back halfway through? What do you want him to do, right?
Yeah.
But the awards were good this year. The Descendants won a couple awards. George Clooney has been in a lot this year. He was in The Descendants. He directed and co-starred in The Ides of March, which was also nominated for a bunch of things. So I was actually personally disappointed that I think it was The Artist that won Best Score.
Best comedy?
Yeah, Best Comedy. I was
best
actually
comedy and best actor in a comedy.
Yeah, I never heard of this movie personally.
For Jean Dujardin, I think.
Yeah, I've never heard of this actor or the movie itself because it's a French film, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to get that to an American audience, but the critics say it's great, so I guess I should check it out, right?
I was cheering for Joseph Gordon-Levitt, though. I have to be honest.
I was too. He's a fantastic actor, and 50-50 is an awesome
I was
movie.
hoping that either he would win Best Actor or the movie would win Best Picture, just to change things up.
Yeah, I was too, man. But what can you do, right? I'm actually sad that the girl with the dragon tattoo didn't win Best Score.
Didn't even get nominated for Best Picture.
It got nominated for Best Score, though, just like The Social Network did last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the awards overall were good. I'm happy that Morgan Freeman won the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Me too, man. He's put in a good body of work, and
He has. He does a lot of narration nowadays, though, eh?
yeah, but what's a guy to do?
Right. Even he's done major roles. He's played God in Bruce Almighty, and he's also he's also played the President of the United States in Deep Impact. He's done a good job with his body of work, right? So he deserves to win the Lifetime Achievement Award, in my opinion.
I agree, man, for sure.
Martin Scorsese winning Best Director for Hugo was huge.
I'm a fan of anything he does, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah, my favorite movie personally by him was The Aviator back in '94.
Mine is Raging Bull.
You like Raging Bull?
1988.
Oh, with Robert De Niro and
Yeah.
yeah, that was a good movie, and I'd say it's one of De Niro's best pictures to date.
For sure.
Anyway, that's what went down on the Golden Globes this year, and overall, I'm very impressed. All right, and that's our episode of The Breakdown. Our next episode will air on February 7th.